Hello there and good evening and welcome to All 24 News live from Algiers. We're here bringing you the latest on day one of the 4th Intra-African Trade Fair. Today, world leaders, ministers and business delegations are here to move Africa's trade and investment agenda forward. And before we bring in our guests, here's the latest. The Intra-African Trade Fair was inaugurated today by President Abdelmadjid Tebboune, who opened the 4th edition in Algiers. The 4th Intra-Trade African Trade has been indeed officially opened in Algiers, bringing together African heads of states, top business leaders and policymakers. President Abdelmadjid Tebboune presided over the opening ceremony, which was attended by senior government officials and international delegations. Africa's largest trade and investment event, the fair aims to strengthen intra-African trade and advance the goals of the African Continental Free Trade Area. This year's edition spotlights innovation, youth entrepreneurship and sustainable development. What is expected are billions of dollars in trade and investment deals. And on this occasion, the President of the Republic highlighted the importance of the intra-African trade and how this can help make a better and stronger Africa. Let's take a listen.
إيمانا منا أننا نناضل في صمت من أجل إفريقيا. مثل ما قامت الجزائر في وقت فات مش بعيد جدا بمحو المديونية ل14 دولة في صمت. محو مديونية كانت تقدر بمليار و500 مليون دولار. إذن كل هذا بكل تواضع وبدون من يبرز الجزائر الإفريقية. نحن متيقنون أن مستقبلنا أولاً وقبل كل شيء في إفريقيا.
That was at the official level. Now let's get more details on the opening day and ceremony with Sophia Kinturi in this report.
At the International Conference Center in Algiers, Africa gathers for Iatf 2025, a first for Algeria. Now at the center of continental trade ambitions. Chosen as host after successes in Cairo and Durban, Algeria is sending a strong message. It wants to diversify beyond hydrocarbons and take a leading role in African integration.
The IATF has been a very great gathering organized by the African Export and Import Bank to see how we could maximize the trade opportunities in Africa. And I want to commend the AfriExim for this very laudable initiative. And it is awesome, really awesome. It is a platform that is comparable to none in Africa, giving all African states the opportunity to integrate as brothers.
More than 2,000 exhibitors and delegations from 80 countries are here. Algeria showcases its agriculture, industry and startups.
I feel it's a very good initiative. Actually, now that we are talking about the African Continental Free Trade Area and the implementation of it, I think this is a step in the right direction, especially for SMEs that are trying to grow their business, startup businesses and existing businesses that are looking at expansion, and for them to meet investors. I would really want to encourage that the African Union keeps up with this and gives more room for small business owners to have beautiful opportunities like this to be able to expand their business.
For international visitors, Algeria's hosting is symbolic.
I think this fair is one of the things that the continent can use to bring together all of its potentials, all of its producers, manufacturers, to come together and be able to show to the rest of the world what Africa is capable of doing. I see that in future, this will become a great global market space for everyone that wants to know anything about the continent. I feel, God, that the Afcfta Secretariat and the Afrexim Bank should continue to do this, even maybe twice in a year, taking it to different parts of Africa and bringing the global market also to a common place where Africa can realize its future of promoting trade within Africa and the rest of the world. I see a great future for the Inter-Africa Trade Fair.
By hosting IATF 2025, Algeria is not only opening its doors, but also pushing Africa toward its long-awaited economic unity.
And to discuss and debate about this important event, I am pleasured, actually, and privileged to have with me Mr. Dula Mekanen. He's the Deputy CEO of Medrock Investment Group. Hello there, sir, and thank you for agreeing to be with us.
Thank you.
It's our pleasure to have you. And of course, we also have with us from Niger is Mamadou Salisu. Mr. Salisu is an architect and general manager of an architecture cabinet. Thank you for agreeing to be with us this evening.
Thank you.
So just to get started on something to warm up, let's say, the discussion and have a quick first impression. How was the first day here or the opening this morning since you both attended?
Sorry?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. I'm really thrilled that this fair is being held in Algiers, which is a fantastic city. So it's I congratulate the organization for making this event a success. So far so good. We came yesterday in Algiers, and by now we are feeling great.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. And what about you, Mr. Mekanen? You are in the field of banking and investment, and this event, just because it highlights the entire Africa and the purpose is to facilitate trade all over the continent, how important is such an event for African businessmen and women?
As a person who is leading an investment group and at the same time banking, in our investment group, we are the largest in Ethiopia, and we manage around 45 companies which are engaged in different fields. We are in coffee, we are in agriculture in general, we are in mining, we are in hotel and hospitality, we are in construction also, and we are in a trading business, and we are in a manufacturing also. And as a bank, we are leading one of the largest private bank in Ethiopia. So as a banker at the same time, as an investor, it is a good opportunity for us to make a good business deal and to get relation or communication with different stakeholders, which are from investing or investment companies and trading companies also. So it is a great opportunity and a good platform to think as intra-Africa, internally, African traders and investors will be meeting in this trade fair. So it is a good opportunity for us.
Mm-hmm. Thank you indeed. And back to you, Mr. Mamadou. Technically, we are seeing a large number of participants coming from different sectors of endeavors. You, as a person who is invested in architecture, how would this actually be a great opportunity for you to maybe expand on your business here?
First of all, you brought together thousands of people from all parts of Africa. So we're definitely going to share our experiences. So we're going to learn from each other. We're going to have some dialogues. So we're going to collaborate. And to have, later on, maybe we'll make some innovations for the Africa. So this is all Africa needs. So by bringing our forces together, we can build that Africa we want for tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. And but what do we expect from this event? What can be the outcome after this event? Are we expecting a really positive forward, let's say, agenda when it comes to a free trade area between African countries?
Yeah, I think, yeah, because it's already started to be a reality in some part of Africa. We do have some borders that are no more. In West African region, where I come from, we already have the West African Union, ECOWAS, within which our borders are quite not existent. So I can work as an architect in my country, then I can go and work in other countries without barriers, without any barriers. So this is what we want to be, extended to all African countries. If I have to travel to Algiers or Johannesburg, I shouldn't need a visa. I shouldn't need to bother whether I will be settling well or I will be received well. Do you understand? I have to feel free traveling and working within the African continent. So this is what we expect from AFCT, and this is what we expect our governments to implement.
And what about you, Mr. Dula Makanen? African Continental Free Trade Area underpins this as fair for trade to move beyond promises. Which three bottlenecks, let's say, must be fixed immediately? So as what Mr. Mamadou Salisu was saying, we need, or we are expecting, free trade area. We're expecting business to be facilitated by the relevant authorities and so on and so forth. But then maybe there are some major obstacles, and some observers have pointed for three. According to you, what could be these bottlenecks that should be taken off?
The first thing to be considered as a priority is, as an African who has more than 1.4 billion population and having natural resources, abundant natural resources, and a young generation also. Africa is a young continent. The first thing to be done and the priority has to be given to African free trade, because almost all African countries are net importers. So we are exporting our raw material for a very cheap price, and we are importing the final product with a multiple of double or triple of its price. So the first thing to be done in Africa is to realize the free trade in all Africa, because there is a potential. There is a potential from natural resource. At the same time, there is a big potential from human capital. And there is a big market in Africa also. So priority has to be given to African free trade realization. We Africans are very good in identifying our problems, and we are very good also in recommending solutions also. Our problem is to making it practical. So we need a priority and a practical action in Africa free trade.
And now you are in the field of mining, and I was wondering how could this maybe help economy? And for example, raw exports, as you were saying, most of the time we see that the riches of Africa are exported for cheap prices, and they are not industrialized, and which can be really profitable for Africa if we invest in this. Now, raw exports, how do you see mining linking to intra-African trade, raw exports, or can mining maybe be the anchor for local industrialization in your case, in your country?
Yes, indeed. Mining is a big potential in Africa. So the raw material for every industrialization came from mining. Be it construction, be it manufacturing, be it other industries, their input came from mining. So in Africa, almost all mining raw materials are exported to abroad. If you could add some value, whether it is intermediate product or a final product, or if the policy makers put a serious action on value addition, we can make a big difference in using minerals. The continent will be benefited from value addition from mining products instead of sending raw to abroad and bringing the final product from abroad.
Mm-hmm. And since we're speaking about exports and sending a material abroad, any country that pretends to be a regional hub must have certain infrastructure. And my question goes to you, Mr. Salisu, as a practical question. When we say, for example, Algeria, or just put any name there, okay? Just humor me with this. As a regional hub, what physical infrastructure matters the most? For example, ports, roads, corridors, industrial parks. I mean, which should be the priority if we want the country to be a pioneer in this?
It's hard to say they are all priorities. We need housing, we need industries, so we need education, so we need institutional, educational also infrastructure. So everything is priority in Africa. I think we shouldn't forget about any aspect of it, but maybe we should all start to work on all those issues. We should build affordable housing for our population. We should process the raw material, like he is saying. We shouldn't export everything. We should process them in Africa so that we'll make value. Okay, let me say that we have a good start in this realm. We have a good collaboration, like with Algeria, and Algeria is going to exploit some and process some oil from Niger. So this kind of South-South collaboration, this is what we need to transform our energy and our resources within the African continent, so that the other people will come and import the processed material, which will give more value and more wealth. Yeah. For the building material, for example, we have everything we need to process, to manufacture the building materials we need to build Africa. But right now, we are importing most of those materials from other continents. Why shouldn't we process them here? If there is a quality issue, maybe we should harmonize the building codes so that we'll have some norms that all African countries, we should have an African norm, like Europe has its norm, China has, America has, Japan has. Why not a norm for all African countries, so that all the products that are going to be manufactured in Africa respect such kind of quality norms?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And yes, you are saying that Africa belongs to Africans, and actually we should have this privilege of building Africa. And this is a very important sector of endeavor for many investors who want to, let's say, be successful in Africa. We have a lot to build, and infrastructure is one of them. Another question to you as a banker, Mr. McConnell, as an industry leader, where do you think investors are putting their money? And Mr. Mamadou Salisu was just saying that this field of infrastructure and building, this is where the money needs to go, and there are a lot of priorities and a lot to build. Now, other than that, what other sectors, I mean, like logistics or other, let's say, sectors of endeavor are important where the investors are putting their money?
For Africa's development, the priority is, I'm not going to compare different titles, but the priority should be, as per my understanding, to work on human capital, just to develop our human resources in every sector. And next to that, it is obvious that the power is the major part of industrialization, so power and different infrastructures has to be coming next. If you do so and supported by policies, the success will be good, and it will be benefiting the community and the population in general.
And now, if you allow me, dear guests, I need to redirect live now to Zahra Farjani, our correspondent, who's on the other side of the capital, Algiers. Where Zahra Farjani, what can you tell us about what's happening at the exhibition palace?
Yes, Karim, hello. So we are here in Safex, the hub of the Intra-African Trade Fair 2025 in its 4th edition. So this is a mega economic event in Africa hosted by Algeria. So all human and material conditions have been met and provided by the Algerian government and the organizing committee to ensure the smooth running of this African fair. So exhibitors are here already in their stands and pavilion, ready to welcome Algerian and foreign visitors arriving tomorrow at the Pain Maritime International Exhibition Center. So it is worth recalling that the event will feature a variety of activities, including conferences, shows, and forums. So this is Zahra Farjani reporting from Safex, the International Exhibition Hall.
Thank you indeed, Zahra Farjani. We will get back to you when the President of the Republic is there to open it officially and the latest preparation. Now, you know that this event is so big and it's been split into 2 different headquarters here at the CSA and also at the Exhibition Palace in the eastern part of Algiers, where a lot of exhibitors are taking part. And I was asking Mr. Mekanen about the important sectors that are, let's say, promising for investors who want to come either between us Africans or even to open the way for other foreign actors to take part. Now, back to you, Mr. Mamadou Salisu. What can you tell us about the kind of support that we expect from us Africans amongst us, governments and so on, to encourage and incite these investors, you know, take that let's say challenge or adventure. Well, in business there are no adventures, and hence we speak about the guarantees and what could actually secure an investor and encourage them to come to a given country and not another. So what can you tell us? What are these kind of guarantees that we need to invest and come up with a successful outcome?
I think that first of all they need stability. Political stability. Okay, when I mean political stability, it doesn't mean only democracy. That is. Okay, we need to have strong systems, governance systems that have controls over everything. The government should make sure that foreign investments are channeled and gathered into what are the priorities of the African continent. Not for extraction only, but I said it earlier, for manufacture. Whatever we need, these are the places where those investments should be focused, should be gathered to. We need also health, forget about it. So investments should be made into medicines. Okay. It should be made into manufacturing building materials, I've said it, for our roads, infrastructure, housing and everything. But we should also gather investments on the energy sector, because everything, without energy, nothing is possible. Yeah. So let's make sure that people come into Africa and invest into producing energy, the energy that we need to make those industries and everything work. Yes.
Now, as a banker, Mr. Mekanen, we have seen a lot of startups and small and medium enterprises there. What can banks do, African banks do, in order to encourage and empower such industries to become more, let's say, resilient, especially that we are witnessing turmoil globally and even as the President of the Republic said, global institutions are collapsing, and which is really dangerous. And Mr. Mamadou Salisu was talking about political stability. Now, how can we, arrange all this into one meaningful situation for business investors?
Yes, for business, as my friend said, stability is the first one, and in Africa we have to focus on SMEs, which are growing now, which are a good base for every investment. So they have to be supported financially by providing them finance. At the same time, they have to be supported by capacity building also. And by doing so, they will scale up and become a big industry. So from financing perspective, bankers has to do a lot on SMEs so that they will grow fast and become a big industry, which we are wishing for.
Mm-hmm. My other question, or before the question, allow me, dear guests, we go into a commercial break and then we come back. Welcome back, dear viewers. And after this commercial break, we are still here at the CEC, that is the International Conference Center in the western part of Algiers. Of course, we have been covering this event, and we have been diving into the nitty-gritty details about this event and how the leaders have participated in this important landmark event, commercial event. Of course, with me were two guests, and in the other studio, my colleague Islam Said is there interviewing somebody else about certain details that, let's say, face an investor. Let's connect with him and get back to you and the guests here at our sets. Islam Said?
Good evening, dear viewers. The Intra-African Trade Fair that is happening here in Algeria 2025 at the Abdelatif International Conference Center, day one. Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me? So as I was saying, day one, live from Algiers on day one of the Intra-African Trade Fair 2025 that is taking place, as I said, at in Algeria at the Abdelatif International Conference Centers. As we see here, halls are buzzing, and there is a large focus on investments, trade, exchanges among African nations, and healthcare security. And if we focus, today we're focusing on the latter, and with me a leader who lives that challenge every single day across the continent, Mr. Maturin Choumi. Maturin Choumi has over 30 years in healthcare across continents and now leads Russia's pharmaceutical business for Africa. Great to have you with us in the studio, sir.
Thank you, Islam. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here with you this evening.
Pleasure is reciprocated, sir. So as a warm-up question before we dive into the discussion, how do you describe the vibe on the ground for Roche in the Intra-African Trade Fair that is happening here in Algeria?
I would like to start by saying it's a privilege to me to be here today and witness what is being projected, right? To think about Africa, where things is happening within Africa. I could feel this morning in the main auditorium when the presidents were talking about what Africa can look like if we start trading amongst ourselves. I do believe, in my 30 years of experience, I've never witnessed a moment like this where we're having a projection of a great Africa.
So, the first question in our discussion here, let's circle back to COVID-19 period. Since COVID, Africa's health security has become a major focus to many countries in Africa. From your frontline view, what is the single biggest weakness the medicine supply chain right now in Africa?
Maybe before I answer that question, let me step back 1 minute and acknowledge that, yes, the COVID pandemic distressed our healthcare system, right? I think, and we have been able, through the way we approach COVID pandemic, understood what has to be fixed so that we don't go through the same type of experience that we went through during the height of the COVID, right? I think for me, maybe before I get there again, another additional point is really also to acknowledge that it looks like our leader have learned from it. I was in Lusaka, Zambia last week, where the 75th regional WHO Africa conference was taking place. Health security, health sovereignty were one of the key points on the agenda, which is a strong signal that the African leaders, the African country have understood that we need to do something different. And that thing different, to your question, is to fix the supply chain, to ensure that never again, if a pandemic hits, we don't have what is needed in the country or close enough to the country so that those who need it the most have it as fast as possible. So for me, it's supply chain, yeah.
We talk about the host country in this edition, the 4th edition of the Intra-African Trade Fair, which is Algeria, is showcasing its logistics hub in this mega event, if we can call it like this. How critical are hubs like, this for getting supplies to patients in North, for example, and West Africa very quickly?
Yeah, I think, it's really enjoyable to be in Algeria today and see all the things that Algeria government is doing to make Algeria a great player in Africa, not only in healthcare, but in other areas such as transport, logistics, communication. It's great to see a place like that and to witness this. I believe that with the situation of Mediterranean, Algeria has a key spot. Key spot with his port. I think, and I truly believe that one way to solve the problem of accessibility of product is to get it as close as possible to those who need it. And therefore, having a hub in country like Algeria who have all the logistic capability to move them from Algiers or any other port in Algeria to other country in the Maghreb or in the ECOWAS area would be a key advantage. It's definitely a key advantage.
Many African countries, when we talk about medicines, many African countries want to make their own medicines and their own drugs. Where should they start to have the biggest immediate impact, and how can companies, for example, like Roche that you're heading in Africa, help in this case?
Yeah, that's the hot topic nowadays, right? Again, referencing again where I spent my whole of last week in Lusaka, Zambia, where leaders of healthcare in Africa came together to think about the future of healthcare in Africa. One of the key points was local manufacturing. And it was interesting to see how the way we think about local manufacturing has evolved from post-COVID to today. I think post-COVID, the solution was, let's just start building manufacturing of medicine and everywhere in Africa so that we cannot experience this anymore. And now, to answer to your question, actually, to manufacture medicine, you cannot do from active ingredient to filling pill in one go. It takes time because it's a technology we need to build. And therefore, in my point of view, and to answer your question, and by my experience, we have to start by saying, okay, what is it that we can fix in the short to mid-term while we are addressing the broader element of the ecosystem? And to that point, for me, is what we call fill and finish. What is fill and finish is to make sure that we import the product already ready to use and put it in the usage form, such as tablet, such as vials, and get them into the hand of those who need the most, which are the patient. For me, fill and finish should be the primary focus point at the moment. And beyond fill and finish is to find a way to do pool procurement, because having them fill finish still need to be brought somewhere in a way that it can reach multiple countries at the same time. So that's what I believe pool procurement could be the second step in these local manufacturing steps. Yeah.
So getting medicines approved across Africa is slow. If you agree with me in this, I mean, in this point, what is the one practical thing regulators, for example, can do right now to speed things up without affecting or let's say sacrificing safety?
I think maybe I should start by saying what they should stop doing. In my point of view, they should stop reviewing what has already been reviewed, right? Respecting safety and sovereignty. Now, to that point, we have today mechanisms in the world that allow to accelerate access to medicine for patients, and that process is, for example, the regulatory reliance. We today have a regulator who have already assessed some of the medicine that we are using at the highest level of quality, of safety, and therefore using the reliance framework to not redo what has already been done is, in one hand, hitting the speed in the hand of the patient, but also limiting resource utilization. So for me, reliance is to the reliance to what has already been done by other authority, and authority where good standard is one practical way to ensure that regulatory is not anymore a delayer to medicine in the hand of patient. Yeah.
So long story short, because unfortunately we are running out of time. If the CEO, for example, of an Algerian, let's say, drug company wants to start exporting, product across the region or maybe across Africa, what is the first thing they should pay attention to when they leave here from this, event?
The first thing they should pay attention to, of course, after having a medicine, is to ensure that the other country will accept that medicine. And the acceptance is based on regulatory approval. And that was referenced before, the day that Africa, we have a reliance on what is approved in Algeria can be used in Côte d'Ivoire, that first thing will be easier. And the good news is the African Union has solved for that. The African Union has just created what we call the Africa Medicine Agency, which will be based in Kigali, Rwanda. And the role of that Africa Medical Agency would be actually to harmonize how medicine are approved in Africa, and therefore make it easier for the CEO of the Algerian manufacturer referred to take his product to Burkina Faso.
If we talk about Africa, we need to talk about talents as well. Africa always needs a skilled health workforce, since we're talking about health security here. How do you train, this workforce, and most importantly, how can you keep them into the continent or in the continent?
I think African countries have, I would say, robust education and training system. And we see it. We see it with the number of people trained in Africa and who leave Africa to go and work overseas. We see it with how much, startup are burgeoning in Africa. In my point of view, what needs to change, to your point, is maybe to link education with what is needed the most. Let me give you a good example. In the Northern Europe country, for example, the Minister of Plan, the Minister of Education, and the Minister of Health sit together to see where is it that we need to educate our people. For me, coming together.
Thank you, Mr. Chume, because we are running out of time, as I told you. Thank you for sharing all of your insights with us.
Thank you for having me.
And back to you now, Karim.
Okay.
Thank you indeed, Islam, and thank you to your guests for all those insights. And of course, I would like to take it up from there when it comes to youth entrepreneurship and innovation. That was an interesting question, which I would like to pass on here to Mr. Mekanan, Mr. Dula Mekanan. So, youth entrepreneurship and innovation is quite the theme now. It's a big theme, and policymakers perhaps are trying to find ways to maybe create real pipelines and not just a competition. Now, what needs to be done for these youth entrepreneurs to be actually encouraged and invest in various fields, since Africa is all raw?
Yes, new entrepreneurs has to first be incubated so that they will grow and do a commercial level in production. But from policy side, and they have to be supported, and they have to be in a position to be supported also. Then a policymakers has to encourage them to use their products and to facilitate every bureaucracy, or they have to ease the process of realizing their idea. Besides the support in different material and financial aspect also.
And were it for you, Mr. Mamadou Salisu, what would you prioritize to help small and medium enterprises scale up, let's say, regionally, at least in 12 months? What would be the most important things to do?
What should be done?
So what I meant mainly is, what would you prioritize to help small and medium enterprises? What would be the priority?
Access to investment is very, 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 very hard in Africa, from south to the north. And that's what differentiates our youth to the European, American, or Asian youth. They are not more creative than we are. I mean, for most of us, we did the same school as them. But why is it that they have easy access to investments compared to us? So we need that support. We need free, easy, very easy, not free, but very easy access to investments. Okay, that's it. I think.
On top of that, I think creating a market for them to use their products is going to help them in growing fast. So access to investment and supporting a policy at the same time, making a market for them, because everybody is suspicious to use their product. So if you can make a good market for them, they will grow fast.
Absolutely. Maybe if we look at other enterprises, not just small and medium, even the big, let's say, companies may lose certain margins when it comes to transaction costs, especially at the borders. Now, which maybe tool that can be exploited to maybe make some measurable influence in this field?
Definitely, the African free trade has to be implemented, because most of the costing on the price goes to tax. So if you waive all those taxes between borders, the margin for any medium and the small enterprise will be good. So as the agenda on Africa free trade, it should be implemented very fast so that a free movement of goods and services will be transacted between borders. So the biggest cost is on taxes and duties. So that will make their margin better than
perhaps
they are
more
getting
interesting,
now.
indeed.
Yes.
And as a final word, very briefly, Mr. Salisu Mamadou, can we talk maybe about e-customs or some digital platform that could facilitate and make the profit better for companies?
E-commerce, yeah. I think I should not talk broadly, but in architecture, you can command a plan from Algiers, then I can make it from Niamey. Okay, I can do everything from there and send to you. We can do transaction via wire transfer or other means.
I'm sorry, Mr. Salissa Mamadou. We have reached the end, and I'm being pressed to conclude. Thank you indeed for our two guests, and thank you, dear viewers, for keeping it here on our channel, All 24 News. More coverages are to come later on. Thank you.